Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Can you see now my screen?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Okay, so just to review what we have discussed last meeting, the contents of your chapter 1 is actually the introductions, no? So I usually I gave you an example, or I gave you the introductions, the overview on how the introductions is being written. Okay, so just as a recall of what we have discussed, what are the things that you've learned when you are writing the introductions? So just to recall, no, for me to continue. What have you understood? What are the letter C's, or how many letter C's do we need to remember, no, when writing an introductions? Can you give one? Miss Vargas, are you here? Last meeting. Do you still remember?
Ma'am, clarity.
Okay, yes, clarity. What else? Anybody? Anybody? Yes, that's correct.
Concise.
What? Come again?
Concise.
Concise. What else?
Consistent.
Yes, consistent. And last?
Coherent.
Coherent.
Yes, the coherence.
Coherence.
Yes, the coherence. So actually, those two important words are the two C's, no, that we need to remember when we are writing the chapter 1. Okay, so just to give you an overview about introduction. So in every institution, there is a format to be followed, especially to those students who are enrolled in research subjects such as thesis, practical research, capstone project in MIS or in MIT, etc., thesis and dissertation. So if you are in the doctorate degree, so we call it as dissertation. So in your case, so we call it as thesis, no? So but it has the same meaning. So you are making a research. Yan. So regardless of the format being implemented by the institution, what matter is the concept, okay? And the content on how you are going to write your research that may give impact to the readers or somehow contribute learning to ease the preparation of writing research as they go through with the process. So tatandaan ninyo guys that when you are having your research, make sure that it is so useful, it is so meaningful, and of course, it will not just become a document, no? And you will just be doing this research for you to, in order for you to pass your subject or to have your grade, something like that. Behind that, guys, the most reason and the most important is that your research will be a significant, no, a meaningful one to the customers, o kaya naman to the users, to the readers, and of course to the community as well. So yun yung number one reason natin why we are conducting our research. Okay, now in writing chapter 1, it says here it includes introduction. That's what I have said, no? So it includes introduction, background of the study, statement of the problem, objectives. So yung ibang institution, they do not have it. Objectives, instead, they have statement of the problem, hypothesis, significance of the study, scope and the limitations of the study, and the definition of terms. So the format, the same lang din guys, no? Sometimes the definition of terms is placed in chapter 2. So here in our WCC, the definition of terms is placed in chapter 1. Ayan. Kaya iba-iba lang din, no? So the important guys is that you know the concept. You know how to write it properly. So that's the essence of having a discussion for the day. Now, what else? Chapter 1 is the beginning chapter of every research or capstones project. It presents the background overview. Ayan. So this is another type, no, of chapter 1. So they have their overview, they have their introductions. Then it answers the 4 W's and 1 H, such as what, who, where, when, and how, to catch the attention of the readers about the research you are to write. Okay, so tatandaan ninyo that when you are writing an introduction, the last paragraph is really very important for you to identify what is really the problem. Because when you are writing a research, make sure is that it has a problem to be solved. No? So you are finding solutions on it, and then later on, it will be solved. Okay, so hindi lang tayo basta nagre-research, no? Basta makatapos lang tayo o kaya naman ay makapag-present lang, no? So kinakailangan na we have solutions to the problems. Especially, kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, when you are thinking of your own proposals, make sure that it is related to your job, it is related to your course, so that you will be equipped and you are knowledgeable enough to look solutions. O kaya naman to gather informations, relevant informations to make your research more effective and to make your research more convenient. Okay? So, yun yung ating nais na bigyan ng pansin. Ano? So, it must observe that, okay, another one, it says here, and so this one is an example of an introduction, no? So mamaya bigyan ko kayo ng copy. So generally, saan ba tayo? Wait lang. Ayan, so this is an example of an introduction. Actually, this is all about guidance counseling. So it's all about guidance. So nag-start tayo. Yes. Generally, however, parents approve of guidance services, but teachers and counselors should be capable of explaining to parents the why and how guidance. Pero bago yon, ito yung sabi dito. Introduction is written, starting from the general concept up to the specific concept until you mention your title why you are conducting that kind of research. It accompanied 3 to 5 theories, no, stated by different research authors to strengthen your study. So why do we need to have at least 3 to 5 authors, no, claiming that idea, claiming that research as well? So for you to strengthen your study. So that's your reason. Kasi pag hindi nyo nilagay o kaya hindi man lang kayo nag-quote ng other authors, lalabas siyang opinionated. Ideas mo lang siya, opinion mo lang siya. So much better if you could find another authors that will also discuss the same content, no, of your research. So it must observe, yung sinasabi ko kanina, it must observe the coherence and then the consistency of the discussion of the study, so that every statement must be related to each other. So that's one reason, no, why do we need to give importance of the word coherence? Kasi it is very hard for us to change or to jump from one paragraph into another paragraph, no? So mahirap mag-shift from one subject into another subject, okay? Kaya kinakailangan gumamit tayo ng mga words like, ayan, may makikita ninyo yan. You may use the words such as, ayan, likewise, moreover, similar, etc. No? So to connect one statement paragraph to another paragraph until you write the whole concept about the research. So usually it composed of 2 to 3 pages only, no? So hindi masyadong mahaba. Now the author's name or kaya naman surname must be indicated at the end of the paragraph to recognize his or ideas to avoid plagiarism on the researcher's behalf. Tandaan natin, no? So if you do not have kaya naman ay if you are reading something, book, kaya naman in the internet, then if there is an author's, please get the surname and even the year, no? So to avoid plagiarism. So do not claim that idea because that is not yours. Okay, so it's better that you may now mention the name as a respect, no, sa respect. Kasi hindi naman tayo pinagbabawalan na tayo ay kumuha ng idea ng iba. Ang mahalaga is that we give respect to them. Okay? We honor them by stating or by mentioning their name properly. Okay. So this is an example of this introduction. So guidance plays an important role in the development of holistic aspects of human being. Actually, this is one of my research. I help my friend to come up with their research, and I do the introduction, and ito yung ginawa ko, no? So usually I started with the general concept. What is the general concept here? Guidance plays an important role in the development of holistic aspects of human being. So when you are talking about holistic, you are pertaining to the ano ba yung mga holistic aspect of human being? Andiyan yung spiritual, emotional, physical, mental, etc., etc. So you are referring, or you are talking about the whole aspects of the human being. So therefore, the guidance plays an important role on those aspects. Okay? So that is what we call general. Okay? So up to specific until you mention your title. Okay, so paano naman yung coherence? How do you apply the coherence? Okay, ito tinatawag natin consistency. So you define, you define what is the meaning of guidance according to Lianyo, so that it will support your claim, something like that, no? And then as you have noticed, aside from Lianyo, I have here domain, okay? And I use here the word likewise. Likewise, guidance is a continuous process of helping the individuals to understand themselves and their world. So maybe it is your opinion, it is your idea. So that's why you may now connect it from your previous statement or previous paragraph, so that your introduction is so powerful. Okay? And kasi introduction, yun yung kauna-unahang parte or part ng inyong research. Syempre, pag mas maganda ang introduction, the rest of the paper, the rest of the research is also good. Okay? So yun yung ano yun, magandang practice natin. Okay, the next. Generally, however, parents approve of guidance services. So yan yung mga example, no? So moreover, I used here moreover, and then another author claiming or defining what is guidance, no? So then likewise, something like that. Now, what are the things that you have to remember? Ayan. So number one, presentation of the situation or the problem. Okay, so usually it is found on the last paragraph of your introduction. Yung last paragraph ninyo should be like this, no? So in this premise, the researcher decided to come up with this study because blah, 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 blah. So you have to state the problem you identified. Okay, so that's one. Number two, existence of an unsatisfactory condition. Ayan. So kasi it is very hard for us to give solution if you do not know the problem, di ba? So it is very hard for us to give solution if you do not know the problem. So that's why the number one reason is, the number one solution is for you to look for the problem first. The number three, rationale of the study. Why is it necessary to conduct the study? So sometimes, guys, this is a very basic question, no? One of, pagka kayo ay mag-start na ng ano, ng tawag dito, defense, this is the very common question. Why you are conducting the study? Siyempre, hindi nyo kami sasagutin, hindi nyo sasagutin yung panelists na we are just wanted to pass and to have grade in our subject. So it's not like that, or else you will be failed. Diba? So number four, it is desire to have a clearer understanding of the situation, circumstances, or the phenomenon. So you must know the background. Okay, that's why I advised you na you may now focus on your position. You may now focus on your course, no? Para you are knowledgeable enough. Okay, so you know everything about the research. The number five, an attempt to find a better way of addressing a problem. So, syempre, sabi nga nila, ano yan eh, two heads are better than one. So much better, guys, if you could approach another person na who is really meron ding idea about dun sa research, no? Kasi from that, magkakaroon ka ngayon ng parang additional info, additional knowledge, additional idea. So magkakaroon ka ngayon ng parang peace of mind at madali mong magagawa ng introduction or paraan yung iyong research. Ayan. Can include ideas, phrases, and sentences from published materials relevant to the study to give the readers an overview about the study. Okay, so ayan na yung mga dapat nating tandaan. So this one naman, guys, is writing statement of the problem. Okay, so number 1. So I used to include here the school CSJP. So anyway, pwede namang iba rin ang gamitin natin. Yeah, so number 1, how to write a statement of the problem. The first major step in conducting a research work is conceptualization. Okay, so as what I have discussed to you guys last meeting, statement of the problem is considered as the heart of the research, no? So napakahalaga niyan. If your statement of the problem is wrong, the entire document is wrong already. Okay? So hinahanap natin lagi na merong problems, no? At maganda yung formulate ng mga questions. Yan. So at the beginning of a research project, many researchers find it greatly difficult to come up with a problem, tama naman, that will set their research apart from other researchers. There have been so many studies conducted in the past that a beginner will find it almost impossible to look for a problem that has not been explored or studied before. Okay, so these are the characteristics of a good research problem. A good research problem should be specific. So it should be achievable. Okay, so hindi lang kayo basta mag-formulate ng question na out of the blue, no? So it must be specific, it must be achievable, and it must be answerable. Okay, the variables are clearly stated and the relationship are properly cited. Okay, example. Ayan, so there is no, sa ano to sa thesis to? Ito yung mga example ko, guys. SOP. Ayan. But not all the time you will be having question for profile of the respondents. Ayan, so the study aims to determine the delivery of guidance services among students of CSJP this academic year 2018-2019. Okay, so it has been stated here the time, and also the locale of the study. It has been mentioned the respondents, which is referring to the students, no? Ayan. So it seeks to answer the following question. Number 1, what is the profile of the student respondents in terms of gender, age, and course? So this is the way on how to write properly the statement of the problem. Gender. So 1, if the question is 1, so kung meron mga sub question like profile of the respondents, so you may now write 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. So there is a question mark at the end, no? The number 2, what are the perceptions of CSJP for students on the delivery of guidance services in terms of career guidance, information service, counseling service, and consultation? So these are the variables that you are using: career guidance, information, counseling service, and consultation. Then for number 3, kinakailangan mag-formulate tayo ng question that will be used for formulating our hypothesis. So number 3, ayan, is there any significant relationship between the profile of the respondents and the delivery of guidance services among CSJP students? So from here, guys, the question 1 and number 2, 1 and 2, you will look if there is a significant relationship. Ayan. Kaya yung 3 questions, okay na yan. Pero syempre, masteral kayo hanggang 5 yan. So kung hinanap ko yung number 3 is a significant relationship, kung pwede kayong mag-create ulit ng another question dito about significant difference naman. If you have another group of respondents. But now in this case kasi, you have only one group of respondents and you are referring to the students. Okay, let's say you will be involving the teachers. Ayan. So you have two group of respondents na. So you can formulate, let's say, is there any significant difference between the perception of the two groups of respondents with regards to the delivery of guidance services, etc., etc., etc. Okay? So from that, meron na kayong pang-apat na question. Yan. Madali lang, ano? So disregard this one, guys, no? So this is for a capstone project. Kasi this is, ano, guys, as what I have said, this is one part of my research book. So diniscuss ko na rin kasi yung pang IT, no? So ito yung ano namin, yung pang IT namin. Pagdating sa edu, pagdating sa public ad, so ito lang yung pattern ninyo or format. Okay, the next. So how do we formulate naman hypothesis? So out of this question number 3, so you can say, ito yon. There is no significant relationship between the profile of the respondents and the delivery of guidance services among CSJP students. So dito, guys, hindi pala, papatanong para hindi na siya patanong kaya period na yan. So there is no, kumbaga you are giving a tentative solution that there is no significant relationship. Ngayon, to prove this claim, you may now use statistical tools. Okay, so usually if there is a group of respondents, you may now use t-test, no? O kaya naman chi-square. O kaya naman ay pag meron kayong 3 groups of respondents to get the to know the relationship, you may now use person R, something like that, no? Pero pag you are just giving or you're just getting the gender, age, course, so percentage is enough. Okay, so for number 2 naman, so you may now use only a weighted mean. Okay, so that's enough. So yung number 3 medyo mahirap yun, no? Okay, anyways, meron naman kayong mga statistician that will help you throughout these computations. Okay, so yung writing of objectives of the study, yung ibang thesis, ibang research, wala niyan, no? Ayan, so significance of the study, who will be benefited on your study. So meron tayong school administrators, ganyan, kung sino-sino pa yung pwede, like faculty members. So it depends upon with your title or proposals, no? Now yung scope, writing scope and delimitation of the study. So you are just mentioning the focus of your study. So i-mention na rin ninyo yung hindi kasama para if ever na magtanong yung mga panelists, so at least you can easily answer them. That variable is not included in your study. Okay. Then next we have writing definition of terms. So usually the definition of terms, whatever words you will be using to your research, so you have to define them operationally. Let's say you're gonna use here the word students. So we all know naman that when you say students, so these are the people going to school, di ba? But in this case, when you define students who are enrolled at CSJP, one kainta, etc., etc. Okay, so ito yung pagbibigay natin ng meaning, no, operationally dun sa mga terms na ginagamit natin sa ating mga research. So most of the time, the variables are being defined properly or operationally. Okay, so let's now proceed to chapter 2. So sa chapter 2, tatandaan nyo lang na meron tayong 3 bagay. Have the literature. Okay, so whether it is local or foreign, literatures, it came from the books. Pwede rin naman na mga katulad nito. So research is life, as I define, no? When you ask me what is the definition of research, I can easily say that research is life. So meaning without research involved in our life, so our life is not meaningful, no? Kaya I decided to come up with a definition of research is life. Okay, so that is related literature. So because a lot of authors claim about the research, something like that, no? And then when you say related studies naman, so this come from the different thesis, dissertations, whether it is published or unpublished. So you can get them as long as you mention, this one is the pattern or format on how you get the informations from those related studies. The author's surname, the date, where it was published, o kaya unpublished, no? Title of the study, the objectives, research, the respondents, summary of findings, have you seen my screen now?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's now proceed to to chapter 2. There are 3 important things to be remembered here about the related studies, related literature, and synthesis. Let us now discuss first the literatures. So usually the literatures, guys, came from the books, pwede ring internet, as long as you mention and include or write their surname, the author's surname, as well as the time, no? So like for example, when you are talking about research, when you define what is research, so you will say here Sarmiento, because that is my claim, no? So that is my idea that when I define as research, research is life, no? Because based on my experience, if there is no involved research, so our life is not meaningful, okay, or significant. Okay, so in writing naman, the related literature or related studies, so it came from unpublished or kaya naman published thesis, dissertation, or research, as long as that it has relations or it must be related to your present study, so you can get them. So this will be the format on how to get the informations from the thesis or kaya naman from the dissertations. So author's surname, the date, where it was published, or where it was written, and then the title of the study, the objectives of the study, research methodology, the respondents of the study, the summary of findings, conclusions, and recommendations. So usually you look for the abstract, ano? So every published and unpublished thesis or dissertation provided a lot of abstract, wherein the abstract will serve as the window of the research. So you do not go through with the entire documents or research. Just read the abstract of that document. Okay? And then the most important, guys, is the synthesis. Okay? So what is synthesis? Ito kalimitan ang nakakalimutan ng mga researchers, no? So that is not enough that you may now just get the related studies, no? So you have to compare, give the difference, give the similarities between the previous studies and your present studies. Okay, let's say I have here, the present study is similar to the study of Villanueva because it dealt with the study of determining the status of Pilmar student services, but the researcher focused more on the second school services that would be basis for development of web portal for ASAS. So they are both talking about services, no? Services. O kaya magkahalintulad sila. So usually the synthesis is placed or written after the related studies. Okay? So much better if you could provide at least 10, no? To strengthen again your study. So mas maganda na marami yung pinagkunan ninyo. Okay? Then next is theoretical framework. Ito guys, the way I write it, because it is the format of the format of MPC. So in theoretical framework sa atin naman sa WCC is found in your chapter 1. But in other institution kasi the theoretical is found in chapter 2. So wala namang problema doon as long as na you know the concept, you know how it works. So walang problema doon. So usually guys, the theoretical framework is written and included in our research again to strengthen your study. So whether it is in the year 19 pokong-pokong pa, walang problema yon, as long as na it is related, no? It is related to your study, so just get it. Okay? And then next, we have the conceptual framework. Yan. So what is the difference between conceptual framework and then theoretical? So yung conceptual kasi, you will think of, ang hirap kasi, no? Ang hirap talaga mag-start. So you will think this from the scratch, no? So it is very hard for you to do that. But there are 3 boxes, no, that you can prepare and be guided on how to prepare for your conceptual framework. Number 1 is the input and then the process. Baliktad pa to. Input, process, and output. So, nabaliktad ko lang yan. Okay, so input, process, output. So usually, ang input natin guys is found on your statement of the problem. And then yung process naman natin will be found on your chapter 3. Okay, so including the statistical treatment, how you gather the informations, how you gather the data, etc. And then for the output naman is the title of your study, or what will be the improvement, or what will be the plan that you are going to develop in case na there is a need for you to develop. Okay, so that is for the output. Yeah, so that is for chapter 2. Okay, next is chapter 3. Yan, so malapit na tayo matapos. So guys, it is very important most of the time, since you are public ad, we use the descriptive type of research. Why? Because you are just describing the variable. Okay, that's why we need to specify what type of research or what is the methodology are you going to use when you are conducting the research. So in your case, in our case, we always use descriptive type of research. So this is the one who is really common, no? Sa mga researchers. Kasi dinidescribe lang nila yung mga variables. And usually, this is the way on how to write properly in your constructing questionnaires, no? So yan, dinidescribe lang natin. So pwede tayong kumuha ng isang authors that will define the use of descriptive type of research. Okay, then, meron ako ditong example. Another one is there. And so titingnan natin na with the use of Google survey, you can easily distribute your questions to the respondents. Noong panahon namin, syempre, yung photocopy, syempre mas maraming respondents, mas expensive on your part as a researcher, no? Kaya ang ginagawa, we use the Slobin formula. Okay, so ganito lang naman yan. So let's say, ito yung 2.5 ninyo, no? Imagine, from 2.5 respondents, so just follow the formula, yung mga galing sa math dyan. So it will become 345 na lang. Diba? So 345 copies na questionnaire. Ang baka photocopy mo na lang. Imagine, 2.5, kung 2.5 yan, it will reduce from 2.5, it will reduce into 345 respondents. But in your case, guys, you can easily do that. Don't worry. Kasi if we have still time, I will teach you on how to formulate questions using Google Form. Okay, then, ganyan lang siya. So, validation of questionnaires. Pag-usapan natin yung validation of questionnaires. Kapag kayo ang gagawa mismo ng questionnaires, guys, we need to validate. You look for 5 experts to validate your questionnaires, no? Kasi syempre, hindi naman tayo expert sa grammar, 'di ba? Hindi naman tayo English teacher talaga na magaling mag-English. Pero at least meron tayong somebody who are experts on that field. And then you have an assurance that your questionnaire is really effective. Okay? So that's why validation is really important. But kapag yan naman ay gamit na, no? You just mention the author's name. Kung sino yung gumamit nun. Wala namang problema yun eh. As long as na, alam niyo, maraming mga gumagawa niyan. Ang ginagawa nila, so they get permission from the authors and then ini-incorporate nila yung letter na inapprove nung mismong may-ari nung questionnaire na yon, lalagyan nila yan sa document nila para valid yung kanilang questionnaires. Okay? So marami namang mga gumagawa nun. And then of course, you have to mention the sources of data. Siyempre, number one yan dyan is questionnaires. No? Ayan. So next is method of gathering data. So this is the way on how to gather the relevant informations that you need in your study. Okay, so the statistical treatment of data, mentioned ko kanina, each question, no, formulated in your statement of the problem, guys, may kanya-kanyang statistical tools yan. So let's say yung profile of the respondents, we just use here percentage, and then yung ano naman, perception, we just use weighted mean, and of course there is a corresponding Likert scale. So dito sa WCC, we just use 4 scale na lang. Okay, so as Dr. Biriones, tama ba Doc, Melo? 4 na lang yung ginagamit. Kaya lang kasi ako, mas nanay ako ng 5.
Yes
Okay?
po.
Pero sa atin, 4 na lang yan. No? Wala namang problema dyan. Okay? So I have here an example on how to compute. May kompleto talaga eh, no? Yung relationship between the age and the assessment. You know what kasi guys, no? This is the way on how to do my research. I do not hire my statistician. I am the one who prepare my statistics. Okay? That's why I have an example here. Okay? Talagang tedious, very tedious. No? Pero masaya siya. Bakit? Kasi ikaw ang gumawa. So, mas maganda kung ikaw intindihan mo at naunawaan yung ginagawa. Okay, so that's it guys. So I hope na you've learned a lot from our discussion. So, may tanong kayo. Don't you worry, I will give you this copy right after ng ating meeting. Doc Melo, do you have any thing you want to add from our discussion?
So far, so good. Okay naman po.
Okay naman po. Okay, so guys,